Hello everyone, week 10 of our celebration of our debut album and its 10th anniversary, which we are now in. And track 10, the penultimate song of the record, Digging Holes. Interesting song, this one, actually. It was, in some respects, we weren't sure about it. We kind of thought, gosh, is that too folky? Digging Holes in the context of the first record, which was kind of more of a balance of mixture of electronic-y and acoustic instruments, and we didn't know whether Digging Holes was that too kind of like almost like folk clubby in the context of this record, but it works really well, and it grew from a banjo riff that Andy was playing. And it kind of built out of that. And originally, the first version of it, it was kind of it was going to be about the ship canal, the building of the digging out of the Manchester Ship Canal. And so we were sort of exploring starting to move towards the exploration of some historic themes, which kind of spilled over into our subsequent albums a lot more. But it was that idea of this celebration of this particular kind of feel of Lancashire, rooted in Lancashire and old Lancashire, which of course included Greater Manchester then, and those stories being a part of our essence as well. And it was important to the feel of the record, because even the sleeve, by John Collier, Tim Bobbin, the 18th sort of century Lancashire dialect poet and artist. This isn't actually, I should tell you this story, shouldn't I? I mean, this isn't actually the sleeve we wanted. There was another painting by John Collier that we wanted as the sleeve for the album, of a dental and sort of 18th century dentist, where he's kind of got his foot on the patient pulling this tooth out with and it was a great image, and we found that it was actually the image of it that we wanted was in a gallery. I think it might have been in the Midlands somewhere, and we approached them about having the rights to use this image on the sleeve of the album, and the money they wanted was absolutely ridiculous. So we just said no, we're not having that. There's plenty of John Collier's art that is more accessible to us, that we love, and this being one of them. So that kind of that Lancashire theme running through, and that was the start of the Digging Holes thing. But as the song progressed, there was a programme that was on the TV at the time about where people were being invited to vote for who they thought was the greatest Briton, and they had sort of TV sort of worthies arguing the case for various people. And I remember watching this programme and thinking, this is great, here we go, Florence Nightingale. Not Mary Seacole, of course, Florence Nightingale, Brunel, Nelson, Churchill, and so on and so forth. Fine. But, it's so kind of naff in a way, isn't it? It's like so short-sighted that this is kind of the mentality for me. I'm sorry, I might have upset people here, I don't know whether this is the right forum to do it, but the whole sort of idea of that Brexit Britain, sort of these built on these really narrow little history books sort of from secondary school, like there isn't more richness and variety to Britain than that, and it really struck me that, I'm thinking about it, and you know, I'm thinking, well, if any of you have been to Portsmouth and been on HMS Victory, for example, and done the tour, and you go down below decks where the cannons are, and you look at the conditions that they were living in and how, and you think, what on earth it must have been like to be on board that boat, you know, fighting in that battle. Or you think about, you know, Brunel and, you know, the wonderful structures, but you think about the number of people who gave their lives to actually make that structure. And it was like, you know what, we should be celebrating the people who actually make stuff happen, who are never celebrated, who are never acknowledged or recognised. And that was the concept of Digging Holes, like the idea of let's take it right back to sort of the route one, the starting point, and the people who actually dig the holes that you know, things then get built on, you know, and that people then make a name for themselves from. So, sorry about that, bit of a rant for, you know, week 10, but Digging Holes, and the version that you're going to see of it is a live recording, of course, from the Ramsbottom Festival. And we love these. I think we used one earlier on Katie, because we always love these because it's kind of from the back of us, but it's lovely to see the audience was so central and always have been to our performances, and you feed off the audience and their response to it, and they are such a huge part of a show that this, I love these particular those shots from the Ramsbottom Festival where it's kind of the audience are the focal point of the recording. It's like you're watching them instead of really watching us, which is, it's like seeing it from our perspective. It's great. So enjoy Digging Holes.
To hold. It took 10 men to dig this hole, digging through the dead of night. 5 gave their lives. What we've done you will forget. We dug this hole with blood and sweat, digging through the dead of night. Men gave their lives. Don't forget the future is built upon the past, and all the things they built, well, they built them to last. Trains run over bridges, cars run down straight roads. All these things were started by men digging holes. Got we plan to keep. We dug this hole on bended knee, digging through the dead of night. Men gave their lives. What we've done you will forget. We dug this hole with blood and sweat, digging through the dead of night. Men gave their lives. Don't forget the future is built upon the past. All the things they built, well, they built them to last. Trains run over bridges, cars run down straight roads. All these things were started by men digging holes. Just built on memories by bigger men than you and me, digging through the dead of night. Men gave their lives. Cheers. Usually, believe it or not, I usually